Hey, how's it going, everybody? As I'm sure you guys have heard, there's a vaccine mandate put in place that all state employees need to be fully vaccinated before October 18th, otherwise they're going to lose their job. And because of this mandate, our office has received a ton of calls, emails, Facebook messages asking us if we decide not to work anymore, how's that going to affect our pension and our overall retirement. So in today's video, that's exactly what we're going to address. That if you decide not to continue working for the state, how does that impact your pension plan as well as yourself, and what you should be careful of before you go ahead and making this change. Also, we're going to talk about how does it affect things like retirement distributions, what can you do within retirement savings you have with the state now that you're separated, as well as some other considerations to think about. Now, if you haven't done so yet, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button so you don't miss future updates just like this one. Also, in the description below, I have a link to a couple of free masterclasses and downloads to help further your guys' financial education journey. So this video, we're going to be mainly focused on the teacher's retirement system, the public employee retirement system, and the school employee retirement system. Those three systems are very similar, so this video is going to address those three primarily. Alright, so the first thing you want to consider is that when you decide to stop working for the state, you're going to stop accruing service credits, which means your pension isn't going to be as high as it would be. So the first thing you want to know is, am I vested in my pension? So for people on Plan 2, you need 5 years of working to be considered vested. If you're on Plan 3, you need either 10 full years of service credit history or 5 years if one of those 5 years was earned after you turned 44 years old. So it's either 10 full years or 5 years if one of them was after the age of 44. That's how you get vested in Plan 3. So if you are vested, that means you're going to be entitled to a future benefit down the road. Now, if you're not vested and you decide to step away, then you have no benefit in the future. So at that time, you have two options. One is you can cash out the pension that you've already accrued at that point, or you can wait and see how things go down the road. Because the last thing you want to do is cash out the pension, which puts your service credits back to zero, and then in the future decide to come back and work for the state, and you have to start from scratch to earn up those service credits. So it usually makes sense that if you're going to step away and you're not vested yet, just leave them where it's at, and then as you get closer to retirement and you know for sure, yes, I'm going to be coming back, or no, I'm definitely not, then you'll be able to make a smart decision. Now, if you are one of those that are vested and you're thinking about stepping away, once you retire from the state, you're not going to be accruing any of those benefits anymore. So for people on Plan 2, if let's say your estimated pension was $1,000 a month today, then in 5 years from now, it's still going to be $1,000 a month. There is no increase anymore because you're not contributing to the plan anymore, and it doesn't have an indexing feature that the Plan 3 does. So for Plan 2, whatever your pension estimate says it is, it's going to be exactly that when you go to collect it down the road. Now, if you tap into your pension early, of course there's going to be penalties. But if you wait until your full collection age at either 62 or 65, depending on where you fall, that's what the pension is going to be. Now, for people on Plan 3, it's a little bit different. If your pension estimate, say, was $1,000 on Plan 3, they have a 3%, kind of like a cost of living adjustment to their pension, even if you're not working and earning credits. So if estimate was $1,000 a month today in Plan 3, 1 year from now, it'd be $1,030. You got that 3% bump. And you'd keep earning this up until you hit your full retirement age at either 62 or 65. Now, this feature is only for the people on Plan 3 that have earned at least 20 service credits in the state. So if you have at least 20 service credits, you step away, and then you wait 5 years before collecting your benefit, you're going to have that compounding effect for 5 years. So it's going to be a lot, but it's better than nothing. Now, as far as how does this move affect my overall retirement? Well, unless you plan to get a higher paying job or putting away a ton of money on your own through a company's 401k plan, you're going to probably have to live with the fact that your retirement income is going to be less than it would be if you kept working with the state. You see, the state has a pension benefit that is pretty much unheard of in the private market today. So you're planning to make the move away from the state, and you're going to go the traditional route that most Americans do of using retirement vehicle savings like a 401k or investing on your own. You're going to have to start putting away a lot more money and be a lot stricter with your retirement savings goals just to hopefully make up for some of that lost guaranteed income. Right? So remember, if you're someone on Plan 3 that worked 30 years of service and you average $100,000 salary, that's $30,000 per year in guaranteed income from the state. Now, if you're trying to do that on your own through a company's 401k plan, you need to have at least $1 million just to take a 3% draw, which is what they call the safe withdrawal rate, to generate that same $30,000. So you can see when I say you have to put away a lot of money to make up for it, I'm not kidding. And a lot of this will depend on how the markets perform. The last 20 years, the S&P's only averaged about 6% a year. So a lot of your financial success on doing it on your own is going to depend on how much you save and how the markets perform and the timing of it all. So there's a lot more factors that goes into doing it on your own. Now, so for a few other considerations, once you separate service from the state, that's going to open up access to all of the retirement accounts you have through them. So for people on Plan 3, you'll have access to Plan 3 as soon as you separate service. The same thing if you have a DCP or a 403B. When you separate service, those become accessible. Now, it doesn't mean you can take them free and clear. There's still taxes and potential penalties depending on how old you are. That just means that you're able to now move them into other vehicles. So if you wanted to move them to your own IRA account or to another company's 401k account, you can do so once you separate your service. Now, if you're looking to tap into these accounts, the DCP, right, the Deferred Compensation Plan, you can tap into that one. You'll pay taxes based on whatever your federal income tax brackets are. The nice thing with that plan, though, is there's no 10% penalty on those. So if you need to tap into anyone, that's probably the one you want to tap into first, just to avoid any kind of 10% penalty. Now, that 10% penalty only applies to people under the age of 55. If you're 55 or older, you can get into your 403B plans as well as your Plan 3 account without incurring any kind of penalties. However, if you decide to move these to your IRA or your 401k account, you forfeit these benefits. These age 55 benefits only apply in their current capacity at the Plan 3 account because it's a 401A and in a 403B shell. As soon as you move into a 401k plan, now you have to wait to 59 and a half. Same thing if you move it to an IRA. So there's more considerations that have to be done if you plan on accessing this money sometime before age 59 and a half. So those are some key considerations you want to think about before pulling the trigger moving money anywhere. Now, if you consult with a financial advisor, 9 times out of 10, they're going to tell you to just transfer it over to them, they'll manage the money, you'll get better investment performance or more investment selection, and you're probably going to do better overall. Now, they're not necessarily wrong in telling you that, but the fact is they're probably looking out for their own self than they are for you. Most advisors don't understand the state employee systems. They don't know the rules of 403Bs, especially when it comes to taxes, nor they know the rules and tax consequences of dealing with Plan 3. So if they tell you, yeah, move the account over to me and we'll do a lot better, you're going to lose the ability to tap into them earlier should you need to. You also forfeit the ability to take out loans and hardship withdrawals from the 403B account. So there are some more considerations that need to go into place before just moving money around because you think it's going to get you a better performing account. So in the past, when I've helped people transition to an early retirement because they wanted to start their own business, for example, one thing that made a lot of sense and really helped them out was taking money they had in Plan 3 and just moving it into a 403B account. Now, these are pre-tax to pre-tax accounts, so there's no tax consequences there. 403Bs also still have the age 55 access allowance. So if we're moving from Plan 3, we can go into a 403B. Depending on the 403B you choose, some of them can have really great investment selections in there. So if you have a really good 403B, such as like an Aspire, a Vanguard, or Fidelity account, that might not be a bad move. Then you can still get the great investment options you would elsewhere, but you can still keep the accessibility to that account should you need it prior to age 59 and a half, or you want to tap into it for loans or hardships to help start off a new business or get your family through some tough times. So that's just a strategy that's worked really well for our clients. Now, you can only open a 403B up as long as you're employed at the school district. So if you knew you're going to plan on leaving soon because of this whole vaccine thing, if it's going to make sense to open up a 403B before you turn in your separation paperwork so the account is open, and then once everything's separated, as long as that account is open, we can come back and transfer the money into that account there. So it's just one strategy you guys can consider for yourself. Run it by your advisor if you have one to see what they think about it as well. But it's worked great for my clients who started their own businesses and left the state earlier than they planned as well. Alright, so now we covered a bunch of general topics in this, but it's really hard to say how is it going to apply to you specifically without knowing you guys personally. So one thing I would recommend for everyone is to go ahead and do a financial plan before you pull the trigger. Because the last thing you want to do is walk away from it without fully understanding the scope of how it's going to work. How is it going to affect your family and your livelihood overall? Because this change is coming up pretty quickly here. So getting yourself a written financial plan just for the sake of knowing the what ifs. What if I continue working? What if I quit? What if I can't find a job? What if I have to take a pay cut? There's a bunch of scenarios you have to consider. So you want to go in there with open eyes so you kind of know what to expect going forward. So go ahead and find a financial advisor that's going to put together a written financial plan for you. Ideally, you want to stay away from the free plans because those are usually used as sales pitches to transfer the money again. Because remember, financial advisors only get paid when they either sell something or move money into an investment account they can manage and charge a fee on. But if you can find a fee-based planner that you just pay them for their time, they'll do all the plans for you, you'll eliminate all that conflict of interest, and you really get truly great advice from them. So look for a fee-based planner that you can just pay them for their time to get a written financial plan in place so you know what you're getting yourself into. I hope this video helps you guys out. Leave me any comments below with any questions you guys have. I'll see you guys next week. Remember that your future depends on what you do today.